And then we're going to start healing your heart so we can move forward, removing the past, removing anything that's holding you back and blocking you from being the best self you can completely be, completely authentic, with your true essence shining. So I'm really excited tonight to go over some very simple, easy ways for you to start right away. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to take the time we have together. And if you know what I've done in the past, I really try to add value in a small amount of time. My goal, my mission is to really help you break free of any negative thoughts or feelings so that you can start moving forward to, again, feel lighter, shine brighter, be your best self. So I want to divide tonight into 4 sections. It's going to be the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And if you've been with me before, whether it may be on Market Your Magic, or it might have been from years ago when I taught Detox Your Thoughts, which is now going to be actually Align and Attract. There's so many things that I talk about, and I always bring in those 4 elements. The reason being is they connect in with our chakra system. And I'm not going to get too much into that tonight, but I will say I work with color psychology and with the chakras, which are spinning wheels of energy. Chakra is just a Sanskrit word from thousands of years ago that talks about how we are all connected. And actually, I will say it's been scientifically proven that each individual energy center that we have has a frequency and a vibration. And that frequency and vibration actually correlates to a color frequency. So little do we know, but we are walking rainbows of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So when you work with me, we always talk about color. So tonight we're going to be working mainly on the heart chakra, which is actually the color green, which is why I wore green tonight. And so this is going to be an additional food for the soul, so to speak. I like to say we eat our fruits and vegetables so that we have good physical health. Well, color is part of our spiritual health. So for tonight, when we talk about the heart, we're going to be talking about an energy center that's smack in the middle here. When you talk about the chakras, there's 3 energies above and 3 below, and the heart is the center of them all. So everything comes back to a feeling, which is pretty amazing when so often we are a thinking society with technology. We're at work, we're sitting on the computer all day, whatever it is that we're doing. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like this. Obviously, there's a lot of creative positions and jobs as well. Some of us are working just even with our kids, but I will say as a whole, we've become a society that's very much about thinking more than feeling. And so we haven't been brought up, many of us, to understand how to handle feelings when things haven't gone right. And to communicate about those feelings can be really difficult. So tonight I'm hoping to give you some really good little tips and tools just so that we can move forward. Does that sound good to everybody? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So just to give you a rundown, many of you probably don't know me, haven't met me. Maybe you just signed up through an ad or through a meetup. I'm on the Boston meetup as well. Who knows? I've been in business 29 years with Heaven and Earth. And so let me just give you a little rundown. After being in personal and spiritual development for 29 years, I was married to my high school sweetheart. We had been together 24 years. And together 24, married 17. He was my high school sweetheart. And unfortunately, it ended in divorce in 2012. It wasn't what I wanted, not what I really expected. And honestly, I think some of you might be able to feel the same, as in it took me a long time to get off the couch and really get to a place that I could function again. Has anyone here, just a show of hands, gone through heartbreak? Yeah, I would think all of us should have our hands up, because this is one reason I like to work with people mainly between those ages of 40 plus, 40 to 60-ish, I always say, because when we hit our age, we've all gone through something, right? We've all gone through heartbreak. We've all gone through different relationships. We've all gone through something that has helped us see the highest highs and the lowest lows. And we got to learn from them. So I'm someone that, even though I was in personal spiritual development for that many years, when this happened, and I'll be very vulnerable in saying, it took me 3 years to get off the couch. I, for one, love that my dog helped me get off the couch just to go out for his daily needs. and walks and such. But honestly, we had an arrangement where the kids were 1 week on, 1 week off. And when I had my kids, I was mom mode and I did everything I was supposed to do and drive to school and parties and dance lessons and piano lessons. And then when they went to their dads, I was on the couch and I cried and I would bawl and I couldn't get myself to function. And then I will say, I had a very dear friend say to me once, Angela, how long do you want to live to? And I was like, what? That's a weird question. I said, I don't know, like maybe, let's say 80, 85, tall, like I want more, but it's like, okay. He says, and how old are you now? And at that time, I was about 43. And he said, okay, what do you want to do with the next 40 years of your life? And I thought, oh my God, I have a choice. And that's when I got to put everything that I know into practice. Everything I've been talking about with clients, everything I've learned, everything I've brought into my day-to-day existence, I hadn't been doing any of it. And then I started. And so I also have gone through many times of healing my heart, but definitely I would say that time in my life was the toughest. I had a divorce, my son was ill, my dad died suddenly, and I had to move out for the first time in my life and live alone. So I understand what it's like to have heartbreak, and I understand where you need to be to move forward. So first and foremost, congratulations for being here, because that means you want to take a step into healing your heart. And that's half the battle, is just becoming aware to say, I want to make a difference and I want to make a change. And so tonight we're going to start doing that, and I'm really excited about it. So for tonight, we're going to start with the physical. Now, every single energy center always has 4 components. And I know that can be confusing. And if you ever take a line in a tract, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. But for right now, I just want to say we can definitely talk about the heart center. It's an emotionally based center. But I want to say that each individual piece has 4 elements. So when we want to start looking at heartbreak and how to overcome heartbreak, because it could be grief, right? We could have somebody who have passed away. It could just be we've been alone for a long time and we're feeling really left out and needing some form of connection. Or it could be that we've just been through a divorce or a separation, which even if it was for the best reason, it can still be grief. So when we talk about the physical part of this heart center, when we talk about heal your heart, I want you to really take time, and if not in this call, at least on your own, even tomorrow on the weekend, I want you to take some time and get quiet and say, where in my body do I feel this pain? How often do we ask ourselves that, right? Where in our body do I feel this pain? And when we actually get to a place where we can close our eyes and we can take some deep breaths, and sometimes we have to ask our body to show it to us, it will. You'll be like, oh, my shoulder, I've had such a bad shoulder for like a year now. What's that about? Right? Or, oh, I can't believe my feet are always swollen. And every time I try to stand for too long, my feet are sore. Your body will tell you where it's holding on to something that it needs to let go of. Does anyone here have a body part right away that they're like, oh yeah, I can feel something? Yeah, some of us do for sure. So scanning your body, even at night, just as soon as you lay down, and you can just go through a scan, you go, okay, through deep breath, just where am I feeling peace? Where am I feeling resistance? What can I let go of? What does this feel like? Because again, we get so into the go, 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 go of the world, we forget to stop and say, how am I feeling about this? And hopefully this makes sense. In the full session, when we end up doing, we have a Heal Your Heart 3-hour group coaching. We're going to dive into some really great tools because, again, I'm a tools and tip girl. I want to get you the information we can get you. But tonight I want to give you some small pieces because you always walk away with something. I want to tell you a really interesting story about myself and one of the best ways I overcame helping myself tune into this physical blockage I had with the heart center. So it was hard for me, right? It was hard because healing after going through so much was just crazy. And interestingly, I developed asthma. And I remember thinking to myself, oh man, is this just now because I'm older? What's this about? And I will say I actually did heal from my ex-husband. And then when I found a relationship, it was through COVID. I was dating someone for a good solid 18 months to 2 years. And I thought that was the right person, and it didn't turn out to be the right person. But my asthma came back and I was like, what's this about for me? And so I started looking at it, and I remember going to my doctor and they were telling me that, just Angela, you just got to deal with it. You've got asthma. And I don't like that. I don't like to have anything where I need to have like a pharmaceutical drug to keep me going. That's just me. But I said, okay, maybe this is the thing, right? I'm in my 50s now. This is what I've got to do. So I got the inhalers and I made sure I traveled with them and I took them when I was supposed to. But at the same time, this is also when I was having trouble with this relationship. And when the relationship ended, my asthma got so bad, where it used to just be in the spring. I live in Ontario. It used to be when the buds were on the trees and the birds started singing. But all of a sudden I was starting to have problems in like February, in the middle of winter. Anyhow, I realized just recently, after like helping myself, I've been healing and clearing from that relationship, really diving into what it taught me, what it was about for me, everything I needed to do to heal, getting back to the tools I knew. This year, I haven't had any asthma, 0. And so I realized, isn't it interesting how we really can heal our bodies? We really can look at what is causing the blockage, causing the problem. Now, again, I'm not saying if you've been suffering for things that this is going to cure anything overnight. I am not that type of person. What I am saying is, I really believe that what goes on in here and goes on in here affects our health. And when we can really start to tune in, we can help heal ourselves. So when you scan your body, I want you to take a look at what is causing any form of ailment or pain. Now, one of the best things I did, what I love, and I recommend for a physical healing, is movement and dance. Now, some of you might be like, I don't want to dance. I never dance. What are you talking about? I don't dance, or I have 2 left feet, or this isn't the type of dance where you have to go in and it's ballroom. What I'm talking about, have you ever been in your living room and you turn on the stereo and your favorite song comes on and you just can't help but move? I want you to move. And if for any reason you feel that you can't move, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to feel what your body wants to say. Because that shoulder will be like, oh, it wants to move. And now I feel like my shoulders are moving. Your body will tell you where it needs to release. So I started something years ago, which I love, called ecstatic dance, which is really an hour and a half of movement from slow to really high to slow, to help us reconnect with our bodies and learn what needs to be released, find the joy in movement, and then have gratitude. And I called it my therapy. I still do. I do it very often. I go almost, if I can, every week to every 2 weeks. And what I would suggest for you, through the physical movement, your body needs to move to release. So whatever you're hanging on to, even if it's in the heart center, find some movement. And I hope this makes sense. Sometimes that movement might come with crying. It might come with laughing. It might come with a good scream, but you need to release. Okay? And we don't move enough. A lot of us are sitting. We're driving, we're on the computer, we're not moving as much as we used to as a society. So movement is imperative for our health. So I'm blessed, and I'm amazed and not amazed that my asthma has completely disappeared this year, which I'm thrilled with. But I want you to just invite you to scan your body tonight when you go to bed and see what it says. Honor your body, love your body, it's your temple. Be really happy with what it's provided you. And in saying that, scan it and see where it's holding on to anything. And if you can pinpoint where that would be and when it started. When we move into the mental side, so you mentioned something, Christina, that's really important, which is the heart center is the center for balance. And if you ever take my courses or you've read my book, Live Life Colorfully, you'll know that the positive word for the heart center is balance. And we're going to talk about that a little bit with the emotional center when we get to emotion. But I want to talk about the mental side first, because we've done the physical. Now we want to go into how mentally does this connect to heart and pain? And thank you for putting your videos on. Hi, everyone. So we know, I'm sure all of us know, that little voice that goes tick, 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 tick. I can't, I shouldn't, I won't, I didn't, I should have, I could have, right? And if you don't, please tell me your secret. Because we're all at a place where that negative voice is on replay, and sometimes louder than others, sometimes more than not. And in saying that, when we want to heal the heart, we really need to dive in to say, what are we saying to ourselves? So especially if we're dealing with, say, a relationship ending and a heartbreak, how much are we beating ourselves up over that heartbreak? Now, I do want to say we all play a part. We can take responsibility, accountability for what part we've played. And that's almost another story and another seminar. What I do want to say though for this part is, how much are you saying, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't do that well enough, or this wasn't good enough, or oh, I should have known better, right? I keep repeating the same patterns. Why do I keep doing that? I'm just stupid. I'm just dumb. The more we do that, we are actually breaking our own heart. We don't need anyone else to do it for us. We're doing it. And so this whole area is about love. And a big piece of this is self-love. So in order to find that healing, I want you to really start looking at, for one, what's my verbiage? Because what you speak out loud will tell you what's going on in here. Did you know by the time we actually speak a negative word, we've already believed it and said it over 100 times in our head? So if I came out with like, oh man, I'm so stupid. I did it again. I'm so stupid. I would have already thought I'm so stupid 100 times in my head before I voiced it. That's a lot of negative affirmations. And we all have trouble and we do that. Does everyone understand this part? Yeah. Some people agree. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. So when we get into deeper work, the align and attract, we're going to dive into each chakra and we'll talk about the core beliefs. We'll talk about what's in there. We'll find what's in there. We'll pull it out and we're going to look at it, and then we're going to see what we want to keep and what we want to throw away. And that's when we do the 6-week program in September. But for tonight, again, these are check-ins for you. How much am I saying, I shouldn't, I wouldn't, I can't, I don't, I didn't, right? Because when a relationship, whether it's, I will say like a heartbreak relationship ends, I want you to start taking a look at this was your greatest teacher to teach you something about yourself. And what you're speaking and what you're saying is a direct reflection to what you're feeling about your own self-love and self-worth. And when we can start to heal this, we can start to heal this, okay? And that's not an easy thing. I'm just taking a look, because I find so often just my clients, as well as me, I mean, God, I'm in this industry and I still got to put myself in check, but my clients, first and foremost, this is when I really wanted to dive in and do as much as I could with people to help them, because I really believe self-love comes first. I honestly think, here's my belief. I believe we are on this tiny little planet in this massive, big, huge galaxy universe with multiple millions of galaxies to learn. And if you start looking at life as a school, it's a hard school, man. It's a hard-ass school. But when you start looking at it as a school, you'll start to see that everything's there to teach you something. And so when you want to start shifting that mindset, it's not easy because you've already said it more than 100 times here. You've already said it more than 100 times here. So you have to catch yourself, right? And you have to get yourself to a place where you can start shifting. So I'm going to give you a really great tip right now. And it's honestly one I've said for years and years and years. I do it myself. If you've been part of my courses before, you're going to be like, oh yeah, she's talking about this again. I'm going to say, I want you to get a Post-it note. I want you to get you know how you get the packages of those Post-it notes? And you can get them in colors that are really fun now. They're not just yellow. They're actually like greens and blues and pinks. I want you to get, if you can, green Post-it notes. If not green, I want you to do pink, because pink totally goes to self-love as well. And whatever you believe is the negative, so I'm going to just say, I'm stupid, that's not truth. So what would be the opposite? Now, you're going to think that I am stupid is truth. So I want you to say, what's the opposite? So like if I said, Shanti, what would be the opposite of I am stupid?
And smart.
Right, I'm smart. So I want you on that post-it note to write, I am smart. Now here's the thing. You're going to take that post-it note and you're going to put it in a space that you normally would never read something, because our brains are very used to just, if we see words, we have to read them. But if we see them on a regular plate, like in a book, not so much. But when you open up the cupboard to get your coffee cup, if there's no words there and there's only a post-it note, your brain is going to read, I'm smart. And then what's going to happen is every morning you wake up to get that coffee cup, you're going to be like, I'm smart. I am smart. I am smart. And guess what? If it took 100 times in here to you voicing it, it's going to take 100 times of you opening up, reading it minimum for you to start saying, oh, gee, I am smart. I am. And then you're going to start writing ones completely again the opposite, but you're going to start realizing that the opposite is the truth and the belief is the lie. And it's so freaking powerful, people. It is the simplest tool. It is the easiest tool, and it works. If you come into my house to this day, I still have post-it notes all over the place. So I have things like, I am healthy, I am beautiful, money comes in expected and unexpected ways, like whatever it may be. And I leave them because some people say, oh, but that's so embarrassing. What if I have someone over and there's a post-it note that says, I am beautiful on my bathroom mirror? And guess what? The person that is in your bathroom probably needs to read that too. And it'll spark a conversation. And so what might happen is someone comes into your bathroom and reads, hey, I am beautiful, or I am handsome. And then they'll be like, oh, you're trying to learn that. So next time they might be like, hey, Fred, hey, handsome, how you doing today? Hey, Christina, hey, beautiful. And then all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm getting called that. Right? So here's, now again, if I think when we did Market Your Magic, I mentioned this. When I go to Starbucks and they ask you for my name on the cup, I say that it's beautiful. And then they have to say, beautiful, your coffee's ready. And it makes people laugh. It sparks conversation. And why not? It starts to change the mindset. Okay? So start doing the post-it notes. Everything that you believe to be true, take a look at it. If it seems that it's in the negative, what's the opposite? And if you don't believe the opposite, you need to start training your brain. And this is something that when you do normal seminars like this, a lot of times people don't tell you the actual hands-on tangible tools to make the difference. And we were not taught how to bring in all this self-worth, self-love. Many of us have had troubles with communication, with expression, with feeling, how to voice our feelings. This is going to help us start to work on it. And when we start to realize that the truth is the positive, right? Because we're these beautiful beings of light. So when the truth is the positive, then we change our frequency. And when we start changing our frequency, we start putting out all this beautiful love and light. And guess what we attract back? Positive love and light. So if you've ever been on a date with someone, and here's where dating can come in, and you hear that negative, 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 you know that person has a lot of wounds to heal, right? Oh, I can't have dessert. I can't have dessert after dinner. I'm just too fat. I can't. No, 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 no. Or if someone says, oh, you look good in that dress. No, I don't look good in it. Oh, no, but thank, right? If we start putting it down, putting it down, putting it down, right? Another little fast story. When I started dating after being married, I didn't know what I was doing. I never dated. I was in high school when I started dating my husband. And I remember, and again, I think I mentioned this on Market Your Magic, because I remember somebody saying to me, hey, you're really cute, you seem really sweet, but everything you talk about is what you don't want instead of what you do. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I was doing that. So it took someone to say it to me before I started going, wow, I'm constantly voicing what I don't want instead of what I do. So that's the mental part for helping us in the heart center, right? Because we need to heal the pain, but we need to change this in order to change this, right? So physically, we know that we need movement. We need to tune in with our bodies and do a check-in and scan and see where the pain is sitting. But then mentally, we need to go, what are we doing with our thoughts? because our thoughts are directly related to those feelings.
Make me laugh when I'm at your house and I open up a cupboard and it could be I'm looking for cookies and I'm like, oh look, there's a post-it note and they're everywhere.
And that's what I mean. It's lovely. So it's nothing to feel ashamed about because, to be honest, you're also spreading love and light around the world, right? You're helping others. So yes, just for me, I've done my steering wheel, bathroom mirror, toilet seat. I'm just trying to think, TV. I buy the TV so that, it's in the corner of the TV because you're not always looking there. So anywhere that has like, did I say coffee cupboard? Yes. Where else did I do one? I'm trying to think. Oh, where the dog food is. So anywhere where you aren't necessarily thinking that you're going to look. And this goes back to, have you ever driven by a bench that says you just proved bench advertising works? Have you ever driven by one of those? And and I was doing a professional talk once and I mentioned this example, and the lady who came up with that marketing campaign was in the audience. And I said to her, that was brilliant. I couldn't believe it because to me, it bugs me and I love it. Marketing is my original background. So it bugs me and I love it because it's like, oh, they just did it. They just got me because I had no choice but to read it. You just proved bench advertising works because you just read the sign as you were driving by or walking by. So you want to think about where can you put them that you don't normally see them. Okay? Does that make sense, Christina? Awesome. So do a ton of them. And if you start to not see them, mix them up. But it'll honestly work and it starts to retrain your brain. So give yourself time. Again, you probably have to read it a minimum of 100 times before you might start voicing it, okay? It's a powerful one. And if you've been part of my courses before, I know Debbie, you're here. Christina, you've taken some courses too. Like you probably have heard me say this for I don't know how many years in my business, but it works. So physical, mental. And thank you for sticking with me because I really am trying to get in as much as I can in the time we have together. So now we want to heal the emotional side. And this is, the heart chakra, man. Holy smokes. We are so blessed. Not only is it so important to have a heart for life, but the feelings that happen in this area are so profound for us on a regular day-to-day basis. And so often when we have heartbreak, we just do not allow those feelings to express. And we're so easily able to laugh, but then find it so hard or shameful to cry. And it's really the same. It's just, emotion is energy in motion. So if you've been brought up to say, stay strong, or big boys don't cry, or anything that's like stopping that flow in the heart center, it's like a volcano, and if we use our throat to voice, for example, and we're just holding everything in, it's like a giant volcano. And we wonder why we get road rage or we get so mad at something, or it's building up and it doesn't know what to do until we release it. So we hold sadness, resentment, we hold guilt, we hold some anger, we hold confusion. All that happens in here. And this is heartbreak. This is why heartbreak hurts so much. It actually hurts your heart. It physically can cause ailments in your body that they've discovered from having heartbreak. There's actually like scar tissue from heartbreak on the heart. It's incredible. We feel so much with it. So I want you to, especially as you scan your body, I want you to also tune into, is there an emotion that I have not been allowing myself to feel or release? And this is again for you to do. And if we work together later, we can definitely dive in. But is there an emotion? Is there a feeling that maybe you also don't allow yourself to feel? Or you don't allow yourself to release? And that could be from past upbringing, and God bless them. They did the best they could, but that was their belief. It doesn't have to be yours. But also with heartbreak, we just get into a place where we think, oh, that's it. It's happening. I'm never going to trust again, right? Or I'm never going to open my heart again. It's always that hurts so much. This is never going to happen again. I'm never going to marry again. I'm never going to fall in love again. This is never happening again because it hurts so much. I know people that would rather be in a hospital going through major operations than deal with heartbreak. So when we go through heartbreak, this is huge for us to learn how to heal. So this is the center. When I talk about the chakras, this is the heart chakra. And so one of the ways that you can start slowly helping yourself heal in this center is to bring in the color green. And it's so easy and simple. And again, it's not one thing that's going to heal it all, but it's many things. So here's one of the little tools. Again, it's been scientifically proven that colors have vibrations and frequencies. Mother Nature is filled with green. When you take time to focus in on the green color, whether it's through something like I'm wearing, maybe it's earrings, bracelets, jewelry, green tie, socks, sheets, pillowcases, pajamas, you're totally wrapping yourself up in the green energy. And that green energy will give you the vibration that you need that helps to repair the heart center. You can do it through green foods. You can do it through essential oils of peppermint, eucalyptus, rosemary, spearmint. You can have a jade stone. You can have all these beautiful things from Mother Earth, including walking on the grass. Putting your bare feet on green grass and connecting to Mother Earth is one of the best things you can do to rebalance your body and also help your heart center. So again, it's something so simple, and we don't think about it because we're not taught to, we like color maybe, or we grew up knowing our favorite color of the crayon box, but we didn't necessarily know that color can heal. So I want you to just play with the green energy of color as you're going through feelings and as you're going through emotions. It's also considered, this heart center, to be an emotionally based color. So what happens when we color with green? We're giving ourselves that infusion of it, and it can really help support this area. Now the heart, being in this center, right, with 3 chakras above, 3 chakras below, is also the center for giving and receiving love. My mom used to say, you receive with the left and you give with the right. And she was right. There's always flow. There's always giving and receiving, giving and receiving. When you have heartbreak, chances are many of us who feel the pain deeply are also some of the biggest givers that there ever will be in relationships, in life, whether it is with a spouse or a partner, or maybe just as a father, a mother, sister, brother, friend. So I want you to take a look at, are you a giver or a receiver? And I want to bet if you suffer with really bad heartbreak, you're a giver. And when you give, this is like the gas tank for your car. And I always think your car is your body. It's like our temple, right? And as we drive our car, what would happen if we just kept on driving, kept on giving? We would run out of gas. And so what ends up happening is this area starts to have trouble, right? Because you're giving. And I hear this so often with clients I have in the dating world. Well, every single dinner I went to, I had to pay for her meal. She never paid for anything. She wanted me to be, she was a gold digger, she just wanted to take and never gave back. Or sometimes I hear it from an intimacy place, or I was the one to initiate everything. I was the one who wanted affection. I gave the affection, but I never got it back. And when you're a giver, a lot of the times we have trouble with boundaries and setting boundaries. And again, I talk about that in Align and Attract. But for here, I just want you to say, am I a giver or a receiver? How much am I giving? And did I give so much in that relationship that I'm exhausted? My gas tank is empty. I have nothing left to give right now, which always means you have to give back to yourself first. Because once you start to give back here, then you fill up the tank, and then you can go out in the world and learn, hopefully, how not to drive your car all over the place and keep your gas tank on a regular fuel. Okay, is this making sense? So we know the color green is really good for the heart center, but I want you to take a look at the giving and receiving. And if you're that big giver, that's when we definitely want to find some balance, okay? When you're on a date, Great way to find out if that person's a giver or receiver, and if they have given so much that they don't have that self-worth, self-love. It's with words such as give a compliment. If they can't receive a compliment, they are a huge giver with no boundaries and they don't know how to receive. Compliments are the number one way for us to take a look, very small, minute area, to say, can that person have enough self-love just to say thank you? Thank you. I do teach this on a more detailed scale. We will in the Heal Your Heart, the Conscious Path to Love, which is coming up on Monday, July 21st. I'm so excited. There's only 12 spots available. It's $147 Canadian, which means cheaper for US. And I'm totally stoked. So thanks, Christina, to mention that, because it's 3 hours and we are going to deep dive. But we're doing it as a community. We're doing it together, so you're not alone. So we can take what we're learning tonight, add even more to it, and really start moving forward on healing your heart. Doing that, because that's going to be 3 hours. We're going to dive in. We're going to really work together. That's on the 21st of July. And we're doing it from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, okay, spiritually. So when we're talking about the heart, we know physically we need movement, right? We need to get outside in nature. We know mentally, we've talked Post-it notes. We know we need to start changing our mindset. Emotionally, we're talking about the heart chakra, the balance of giving and receiving love, and being able to actually receive compliments and feel our emotions. So now when we get to spiritual, I want you to take a real look at, what did my soul come here to learn through love? Because really, I truly believe we are all here to love and be loved. And so you're either learning how to love, give, or how to be loved. Be loved, that's receiving back. So there's that flow again with the heart center. So in that last relationship, was I giving more love or receiving more love? And how was the balance? But what was my soul here to learn? I really believe every single heartbreak has a lesson. In the moment, it's so painful. It can be so tough. But when you get to a place that you can look back at that relationship and you can see the beauty in all those little pieces and what you learned. Maybe you learned more patience, how to listen better, how to voice more, how to become more affectionate, right? How to laugh a little more. Then those are the little golden nuggets of beauty that you can take with you. And that's what your soul needed to learn. So if your spirit, if your soul was like, you really, and I'm going to pick on Mike even though he's not here, but if you say, geez, I really do need to learn how to receive a little bit more, then guess what? The universe is going to be like, let's give them this relationship and see how they do, and see if they're going to learn the lesson at this point. So this is something, again, we'll dive deeper in down the road, but I want to just mention to you, take a look at, what did I learn? What golden nuggets did I get from that relationship? Because some of them, that's hard, especially if you've been in an abusive relationship. It's been really difficult in any way, shape, or form. Especially, there's a lot of my clients that have had horrible endings to relationships, and it's really tough to understand what lesson would be in that, or what takeaway would be a benefit in that case. But there's always, trust me, there's always something. And I'm always happy to sit with you and try to find out what that is if need be. Because when we learn that, that's when we also start to heal the spiritual side, which helps our heart center. So if you can look at how life happens for you, not to you, that's the spiritual side. I also want to mention the music I was playing as we came into this call is from one of my favorite artists named Deva Premal, Devapremal. She just put out a new album. She's been out for 30-ish more years. And her new album has a song called Alma, A-L-M-A. And I think, Shanti, you can put it into the chat because we looked for the YouTube video. Do you have down what it means again? Because I know we spoke about it, because I loved it because it's brand new.
Between your soul and my soul, there is no distance, only light, only calmness.
Beautiful. So she sings, this one actually was in Spanish, but she normally sings in Sanskrit, which is the oldest language known in this world. And when you have music on, especially things that are in Sanskrit. If you've heard people chanting like Om Namah Shivaya or Om Namah Bhagavate, that's Sanskrit words. But when you're chanting in that, your whole soul's frequency becomes aligned with the love and the light and of your divine source. And it's so beautiful and it's so powerful. So from a spiritual place, I recommend that if you're feeling, again, maybe it's tough to get emotions out, or maybe you just are needing a good cry on the couch, put on music such as Deva Premal. You will find your whole body will regulate to the music and to just its system. And I've had clients reduce anxiety, end up helping with depression, feeling more calm and sleeping better, and more in tune with their body just from listening to healing music. And there's some beautiful artists. I could go on again. We'll talk more about that in the bigger call. But there's so many beautiful artists. And if you start listening to some of that music, you will be amazed at how your whole nervous system will just calm down and your heart center will become healed. So sound therapy, right? Color therapy. Then we've got our mind shifting. We've got even things that we were talking about, like nature therapy. They're all ways that we can heal the heart. So when we dive in, that's what we can start doing is, what do we do to actually like tangibly shift? And it's hard with emotions, right? It's not something we can necessarily see or touch or feel, but we can start to make shifts. So yeah, I want to say that I hope you know that this isn't about getting over someone or getting rid of someone. It's really about returning to yourself and to your energy and to your self-love and to your light so that you feel lighter and shine brighter. And then you raise your frequency so that when you do go out into the world, especially if you want to get into dating again, you're putting out that high vibration, which means you're going to attract back that vibration. So we just want to keep on working on how do we heal ourselves, right? And what can we do for it here? So for tonight, that's what I wanted to focus in on, and we're right on time with this. We've got some great tips. Thank you for listening to me speak so long and so much on this. I do want to mention again, July 21st, really, we're going to dive in and we're going to have a really good time in community in that 3 hours, working with each other. And I find when we work like that, we start to also develop bonds and friendships and connections, which can be great. So if something like that interests you to go a little bit further, meet some other amazing people, but also really heal, the heart, start working on where the area is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually that you need, that's the one. So listen, just know tonight, if I can sum up that, more than anything, give yourself a little bit of tenderness and care and gentleness, and remember that you are love and you are loved. So no matter how tough heartbreak's been, working on yourself will start to heal those breaking points and get you to a place that you can feel like you can get out there again and meet people and maybe start moving forward. And you might not think that right now, especially if you've just ended in a relationship. But regardless, again, whether it's grief of a partner or just grief of even what's going on in your life, maybe major changes happening, just know you're supported, you're guided, you're loved, and just try to focus on just be love. And that's all you really need to do. Just be love. And one of my greatest things is, what would love say? What would love do? How would love act? And that's not only on everybody else, but on you. What would love say to you? What would love do for you? How would love act? And then treat yourself that way. And slowly but surely we'll get to a place where our hearts can heal and we can shine brighter than ever before. Thanks, everyone. I'm Angela. Thank you so much. Love and light. Good night.